The Fed chair appears to defend the Fed's aggressive rate hike campaign, framing the Fed's independence as necessary, as stable inflation is the foundation of a healthy economy, and that could require taking actions that perhaps not popular but necessary.
This article is from Reuters. All officials of the Federal Reserve's December 13th to 14th policy meeting agreed the U.S. central banks should slow the pace of its aggressive interest rate increases, allowing them to continue increasing the cost of credit to control inflation, but in a gradual way meant to limit the risks to economic growth. The minutes of the meeting, which were released Wednesday, showed policymakers still focused on controlling the pace of price increases that threatened to run hotter than anticipated, and worried about any misperception in financial inflation was flagging, but officials also acknowledged they had made significant progress over the past year in raising rates enough to bring inflation down. As a result, the central bank now needed to balance its fight against rising prices with the risks of slowing the economy too much and potentially placing the largest burdens on the most vulnerable groups through high than necessary unemployment. Wow. Mr. El-Erian was right last year on the Fed, being late and setting the stage to a sticky inflation situation. Let's get more information here. Then we'll roll clips, see what's going on and what was said leading to 2023. Most participants emphasized the need to retain flexibility and optionality when moving policy to more restrictive stance. The minutes said, indicating officials may be prepared to scale back to a quarter percentage point increases as of January 31st to February 1st meeting. That's the FOMC meeting, but also remained open to even higher than anticipated terminal rate if higher inflation persists. Let's go, editor. Roll the clips.
Last time they met, in the minutes after that meeting, there was some mention of the following line, basically answering the question as to whether the risk of doing too little outweighs the risk of doing too much. As they meet today, Mohammed, do you think that assessment has changed much in the last couple of months? Does the risk of doing too little still outweigh the risk of doing too much?
I mean, look at the JOLTS number. I mean, that's the shocker, John. I do believe so. I know that there's only a handful of us who think that the risk of doing too little is higher than the risk of doing too much at this stage. You know, optimally, we shouldn't be here, and we could have avoided being here. That's the tragedy of the whole situation. But now that we're here, right, the risk is that they will do too little, and that's the higher risk going forward.
So pay attention now. In the aftermath of the recent CPI and the outrage by the Wall Streeters and the corrupt politicians who are urging the Fed to stop raising interest rates because inflation is gone. If they continue to do it, they're going to dip the economy into a recession, an unneeded recession, because the job market is pretty good. Jobs are plentiful. That's what they say. Yet inflation is going down. This is the soft landing. Why would the Fed ruin the party? So the Fed has two choices: either to listen to these morons, accept the current success, perhaps pause and even ease, or choice number two. And Jerome Powell, if you're listening, you better take some notes. Stick to the plan until the job is done. What is the job is done? It means inflation is gone for good. Now, if you know anything about Economics 101, if you spent at least 5 minutes in any history class, you know that every major inflation cycle ended up in a recession. There hasn't been a single case when we've seen inflation as we're seeing today, and everything ended up where everybody lives happily ever after. Because to kill inflation at this stage, when you're too late to the game, you have to reset the cycle. And resetting the cycle means dipping the economy into a recession. That is the only proven way so far to get rid of inflation once and for all. Now, with that understanding out of the way, let's play some scenario analysis. Let's say the Fed buckles and says, okay, we've done enough. Now it's time to pause and perhaps ease interest rate hikes, even cut. What's going to happen? The equities market will rally by 8%. And the dollar is going to plummet big time. Now, why do I say that the stock market is going to rally by 8%? Remember, I issued a forecast. I said in the bullish scenario, the bulls will make it above 4,000 in the SPX. They will crack above a major resistance line, the sloping line that you see. And once that happens, everybody and their mothers will become bullish again. And this rally could take us all the way to 4,325.28. That could be a rally worth about 8% or so. Now, here's the problem. if we have a stock market rally of 8% and everybody says that the bear market is over and here comes the new bull market and the dollar on top of that plummets big time, what are the end result of all of this? The answer is financial conditions will ease and inflation will rebound, because when the stock market rises higher, that loosens financial conditions. People feel more confident, they start spending in the economy again, they start borrowing, etc., etc. When the dollar goes down, that's inflationary because commodities are traded via the dollar. When the value of the dollar goes down, demand rises on commodities overseas. That is inflationary because it pushes the prices of commodities higher. And so long as the underlying conditions for inflation remain intact, remember, we're declaring inflation is dead while inflation is at 6.5% year over year, and that is the cooked number. In reality, inflation is much higher. This is absolute lunacy because part of the conditions that keep inflation alive is a law called the aggregate demand, meaning prices go down, but if people still have the credit card, they still have inflationary wages, they still got their jobs, and they believe that we have a soft landing, the Fed is done with the tightening, what are they going to do? They're going to start splurging again. That is inflationary. That is aggregate demand. When price goes down and we see demand rising higher at this new price level.
Hey guys, it's Jose, your regular Joe Blow, keeping an eye out and my ears open to our economy, guys, and they are not letting up, guys. The problem here is that what concerns me is that these are the elites with the credentials to prove it, and it's looking like it is just for show. We saw this playing out last year, and the Maverick of Wall Street plus Muhammad Al-Arian were on the money with great predictions, and thanks to people like them, I and my family plus everyone putting in the work survived 2022 and are now in position to surf 2023. Getting ready for the opportunity, guys, on the way. So let's stay tuned. Do your own research. More in the description below, as always. And my sources will always be in the description below. As always, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the support. I appreciate it so much. You guys award me the freedom to bring you the best by doing the best. Stay free.
It ain't hard to tell. I excel, then prevail.